This isn't the plot of the next Indiana Jones movie. This is the true story of the Victorio Peak treasure, a $28 billion fortune hidden in the New Mexico desert. It's a tale of unimaginable wealth, government cover-ups, dynamite, and cold-blooded murder. Today, we are diving deep into the Hembrillo Basin of New Mexico to uncover one of the greatest treasure mysteries in American history. Buckle up, because the story of Milton Doc Noss and the Victorio Peak gold is going to absolutely blow your mind. Our story starts in November 1937. Milton Ernest Noss, better known as Doc, was a traveling foot doctor and a bit of a hustler. He and his wife, Ova, who went by Babe, were on a deer hunting trip in southern New Mexico near a rugged mountain called Victorio Peak. While hunting alone, it started pouring rain. Doc sought shelter under a rocky overhang near the mountain's summit. While waiting out the storm, he noticed an oddly shaped rock. It looked intentionally carved. Doc dug around it, lifted it up, and uncovered a narrow, hidden shaft leading straight down into the pitch-black mountain. A few days later, Doc and Babe returned with ropes and flashlights. Babe stayed up top as Doc shimmied 60 feet down into the dark abyss. What he found defied belief. The walls were covered in ancient petroglyphs. But the shaft kept going. He dropped another 125 feet and stepped into an enormous natural cavern. That's when things got terrifying. Doc found himself standing in a tomb. He discovered dozens of human skeletons. Some were stacked in tight enclosures. Others were found kneeling, bound to stakes driven into the stone floor, left there to die. But whoever built this macabre prison was guarding something massive. As Doc explored deeper into the caverns, he found a treasure trove that defied logic. There were old Wells Fargo chests, golden statues of the Virgin Mary, 19th century letters, jeweled swords, and Spanish armor from the conquistador era. He even found a crown encrusted with 243 diamonds and a massive pigeon blood ruby. But the real prize was in another chamber. Doc found thousands of heavy, dark metal bars stacked like firewood. At first, he thought they were just cheap pig iron. He could barely lift one. They weighed 40 pounds each. But Babe insisted he bring one up to the surface. When she scratched away the black grime, the metal gleamed yellow. It was pure gold. Doc estimated there were roughly 16,000 of these gold bars inside the peak. In today's money, we are talking about a fortune worth billions. But there was a huge problem. This was the 1930s. The U.S. government had just passed the Gold Reserve Act, making it completely illegal for private citizens to own and hoard gold. Doc couldn't just walk into a bank and cash in. He was sitting on a mountain of wealth, but he was trapped. For 2 years, Doc and Babe kept their secret. They set up a tent at the base of Victorio Peak, and Doc would squeeze down that incredibly tight shaft, dragging out the heavy treasure piece by piece. He managed to haul out around 200 gold bars, burying them in secret caches all across the desert. But squeezing down a tiny hole was exhausting. So, in 1939, Doc made a decision that would ruin his life. He hired a mining engineer to blow the entrance open with dynamite, hoping to create a larger passageway. Instead, it was a spectacular disaster. They used way too much explosive. The blast triggered a massive cave-in, completely collapsing the shaft and sealing the treasure deep inside the mountain. Doc was locked out of his own gold mine. Desperate and paranoid, Doc turned to the black market to sell the 200 bars he had already pulled out and hidden. But dealing on the black market brings you into contact with dangerous people. In 1949, Doc partnered with a Texan named Charlie Ryan. He promised Ryan some of the gold in exchange for investment money to clear the collapsed shaft. But Doc didn't trust Ryan. Suspecting Ryan was going to rob him, Doc secretly reburied the gold. When Ryan realized he had been conned, a violent argument broke out. As Doc tried to run, Charlie Ryan pulled a gun and shot Doc in the back of the head. The man who found $1 billion treasure died in the dirt with exactly $2.16 in his pocket. After Doc's death, Babe Noss relentlessly tried to reclaim the peak. But history had other plans. In the 1940s, the U.S. military took over the land to create the White Sands Missile Range. The peak became highly restricted government property, totally off-limits to the public. Rumors exploded. In the 1950s, military airmen stationed there allegedly found the gold and reported it to their superiors. Some conspiracy theorists believe the U.S. government secretly excavated the caverns, using the billions in gold to fund black-budget military operations. In 1977, the military finally allowed the Noss family, backed by famous celebrity lawyer F. Lee Bailey, to launch an expedition. But the military strictly controlled their every move. By the time the search window closed, they hadn't found a single gold bar. So, where did the gold come from? Was it the lost wealth of Emperor Maximilian of Mexico? Was it stashed there by Apache chief Victorio? Or was it an elaborate hoax spun by a con man? To this day, the complete truth remains buried under tons of rock and government red tape. But somewhere out in the New Mexico desert, Doc Noss's hidden caches of gold bars are still waiting to be found. What do you think happened to the treasure of Victorio Peak? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another mystery. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. I'll see you next time. Peace.